Welcome to this complete Revit course for beginners. If you have never opened Revit before, don't worry. By the end of this lesson, you will understand how the software is organized, where everything is located, and how professionals work inside Revit. Before we start, it's important to understand one thing. Revit is not AutoCAD. In AutoCAD, you draw lines to create a building. In Revit, you create a virtual building using intelligent elements like walls, floors, doors, windows, roofs, and stairs. Every element knows what it is. A wall is a wall, a door is a door. This is what makes Revit a BIM software. BIM stands for Building Information Modeling. It means you are not just creating drawings. You are creating a digital model of an actual building. From that one model, Revit automatically generates floor plans, elevations, sections, schedules, and even 3D views. This is why Revit is widely used by architects, structural engineers, MEP engineers, and construction professionals around the world. Let's start from the very beginning. When you open Revit, the first thing you will see is the home screen. This is where you will start almost every project. On the left side, you will find options to create a new project or open an existing one. If you are starting a new project, click New and choose the appropriate project template. If you already have a Revit model, simply click Open and browse to the project file. For this, I'll just open an existing project so we can explore the interface together. Once the project is open, this is the main Revit workspace where you will spend most of your time. Now let's get familiar with the interface. At the top of the screen is the ribbon. Think of the ribbon as your toolbox. Every command you will use is organized into tabs. For example, architecture is where you will create walls, drawers, windows, roofs, floors, ceilings, and stairs. Structure contains tools for structural modeling. Systems is mainly used for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing elements. Insert allows you to import CAD files, PDFs, images, and links. Annotate is where you will add dimensions, text, tag, and notes. View controls how your model is displayed. Manage controls project settings and additionals. Don't worry about memorizing everything today. As you continue this course, you will naturally become familiar with these tabs. On the left side is the Properties palette. Whenever you select an element, its properties appear here. Think of this as a settings panel. For example, if you select a wall, this is where you change its height, constraints, offsets, and type. You will spend a lot of time here. Always remember, select first, then modify its properties. Below the properties palette is the project browser. This is one of the most important parts of Revit. Think of it as the table of contents for your project. Everything is organized here. Floor plans, ceiling plans, elevations, sections, schedules, sheets, families, 3D views. Whenever you create a new view, it appears in the project browser automatically. Instead of opening different files, everything stays organized inside one project. The largest space in the center is your drawing area. This is where you will create and edit your model. Depending on the view you are in, this area will display a floor plan, elevation, section, or 3D model. At the bottom of the drawing area is the view control bar. This lets you change how the model is displayed. You can switch between hidden line, shaded, consistent colors, or realistic. You will also find settings like detail level, shadows, temporary height, isolate, and scale. You will use this frequently while working. On the right side of the screen, you will find the navigation bar and the view cube. The view cube helps you quickly switch between different views of your model. You can click top, front, left, right, or simply drag the cube to rotate the model. If you want to look around freely in 3D view, there are two easy methods. The first method is to hold the shift key and then press and hold the middle mouse button or the scroll wheel while moving your mouse. The second method is to use the orbit tool from the navigation bar. Both methods let you rotate around your model smoothly, making it much easier to inspect your building from any angle. As you continue working in Revit, you will use these navigation tools constantly, so it's worth practicing them until they become second nature. At the bottom of Revit is the status bar. Many beginners ignore it. Whenever Revit expects you to do something, it gives instructions here. If you are unsure what to click next, simply look at the status bar. It usually tells you exactly what Revit is waiting for. One thing that confuses almost every beginner is views. Here is an easy way to think about it. Imagine your building is sitting on the table. Looking from above gives you a floor plan. Looking from the side gives you an elevation. Cutting through the building gives you a section. And looking freely gives you a 3D view. These are all different ways of looking at the same model. You are never creating separate drawings. Everything comes from one model. When you change the model, every related view updates automatically. This is one of Revit's biggest advantages. Selecting objects is simple. Click once to select, use Tab to cycle through nearby elements, hold Ctrl to select multiple objects, press Escape to cancel a command. These shortcuts will become second nature as you practice. Let's learn the most useful navigation shortcuts. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom, hold the mouse wheel to pan, hold Shift while pressing the mouse wheel to orbit in 3D. Double-click the mouse wheel to zoom everything to fit on the screen. Learning these 4 actions alone will make working in Revit much smoother. Before we finish, there is one important concept every beginner must understand. In Revit, every element has 2 kinds of properties: instance properties and type properties. Instance properties affect only the selected element. For example, moving one wall or changing its base offset affects only that wall. Type properties affect every element of that same type. For example, if you change the thickness of a wall type, every wall using that type updates automatically. Understanding this difference will save you from many beginner mistakes. We will use these concepts throughout the course. Now that you are comfortable with the interface, you are ready to start creating your first project. In the next lesson, we will learn how to start a new project, understand templates, labels, grids, and the basic setup that every Revit project begins with. By taking the course one step at a time, you will build a solid foundation without feeling overwhelmed.